Well, everybody, welcome back once again to JJ's PC Builds. You know it is JJ with you once again. Today, reason why we're here is because we're going to talk about KB5034441, the Windows update that Microsoft sent us, and find out that it was having a lot of errors. So let's go ahead and jump over to the action screen. As you can see, I already got it up. It's the update for Windows 10. And look, I got a bigger cursor. Don't ask me how I did it, but I did it. I got me a big old cursor just to show you where I was pointing at. Okay, so let's go through the summary of this. This update automatically applies to Safe OS Dynamic Update KB5034232 to the Windows Recovery Environment, the WinRE, running on your PC to address security vulnerabilities that could allow hackers to bypass BitLocker encryption by using WRE. For more information, you can go to CV-2024-20666. Okay, important. This update requires 250 megabytes of free space in the recovery partition. Keep that in mind, recovery partition. To install successfully, if the recovery partition does not have sufficient free space, this update will fail. In this case, you will receive the following error message: 0x80070643 error install failure. To avoid this error or recover from this failure, please follow the instructions, manually resize your partition to install the WRE update, and then try installing this update. So, known issues in this update. And this shows you the known issues in the next step. Okay, now understand something right here. I'm going to tell you. Make sure you get your drink and your snacks, because it's going to be a little long video. Okay, now let's go on to this, and you do not need to restart your device applying this update. So just remember, once you get the update, your computer doesn't need to be restarted. But do remember one thing about Windows. They tell you that, but they don't tell you the fact that you always want to refresh your system, so it's always good to restart. Just in case you have any issues, it's best to restart it, so that way you got a refresh and it's updated and ready to go. Now, when they tell you that, I'm going to tell you there's 3 steps to do this. 3 different steps. I'm going to show you the first step. Okay. But I know y'all are going to get really, really, really bored of this. So let's just get to the information of it all. Let's see. Let's go ahead and click on this. So this gives you the information. When you click on that, that gives you the information of how to resize your partition. But that's in the command.com. So this is where, a lot of people that don't know how to do this is really going to get confused with doing all this right here. But you can do this by following the steps that they say. It's like, disable your WinRE run Regent C / disable, then shrink to the OS partition for a new recovery partition, and to shrink the OS, use run disk partition, and so on. You follow the instructions, and you get all the way down here, and then once you get done, you got to make all this code goobly gob and add all that code to it, But if you're running a master boot record and you're not running GPT, GPT is what they use for the UEFI systems that are currently today. Now, if you're running an older motherboard to where it just requires the master boot record, the MBR, then you're going to use this line right here to create a primary partition. And then, you got to format it for Windows RE Windows RE tools. And then you got to list volume, exit. Then after you get done doing all this, you'll end up having the Regent C/enable. You have to enable it and be done. Okay. Note, if creation failed or you do not want to extend the WRE partition, take this in. If you do not want to extend the WRE partition, run Regent C/enable to re-enable WinRE. So that's up to you. But the instructions are right there. The KB502888997 instructions, you can go off of that. And it tells you all about how to repartition your hard drive and all that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now we're past the blah, blah, blah. There is another thing that you can do just by, going into it, and you can look, and it's called Windows Update, right? WU. Let me make sure I get this right, so that way I don't give you guys the wrong information. Let's go to the E. Let's go to... See, I got everything all set up, so that way I don't have that problem. So we can go into Maker. Okay. It's called WU SHOW HIDE. Right here, Windows 10. Now, you can get that and you can set it all up, but it's best to get it from make sure you put download in there. See, right here, Major Geeks. This is where I got mine from. Okay, Major Geeks, you can get that right here. And you can download it right directly from them. And then it'll pop up on your, up into your download spot right here. So then what you do is you click on it. Right here. And then click next. This is if you want to wait on Windows. This is the second way. This is if you want to wait on Windows. You don't want to mess with it or anything else. So this is detecting updates and stuff like that. So when it gets done, you can hit hide updates. If you want to hide that update, the KB5034441. And then when Microsoft gives you, the fix, then you can come back here to put, click on it again, open this up and put show hidden updates. And then what you'll do is you'll click on that and then you'll hit next. And then, it'll show up in there. And then after that, it'll be, revealed. And then you can go back into, let's see, let me X out of that. Then you can go back into your Windows Update. And then, right here I have it just to show you. I already have it successfully installed. So I've already fixed it. I'll show you the reason why I fixed it. Okay, so let's go on from here. By the way, this right here is just one way you can take, and if you don't want to screw with it, let Microsoft fix it for you. It could be a month, it could be 2 months or 3 months. Once you hide it, then that will be it. Okay. I want you to understand that. Oh, get past that. Once you hide it, what happens is you wait for Microsoft to do a fix for you. If they ever do a fix or they don't, it'll still be there, but it's not going to bother anything in your system. You'll still get your updates and everything else, and it's not going to progress you any further. So, but what I did was I went and downloaded a partition tool from Partition Wizard. It's the mini partition tool. It's the 12th edition, I guess. It was free. You can download the free version and still use it if you know what you're doing when you go to do this. So I'm going to show you an example and then, how you can go about expanding the size of your recovery partition without having to go through all that googly gob about, you going into the command.com and set all those parameters and everything else. I'm just going to show you a third way, which will probably be an easier way for you to do. So we'll go ahead and we'll go back to the action screen once again. And then we'll open up the mini partition tool. And wait for it to open up. I might have to resize the screen. Yeah, I might have to resize the screen. Give me a moment. I got to go to my display settings. Go to 2 and set it down to, let's say, 100. There. That would be a lot better than me trying to fuss with trying to show you all what's going on. Okay. Now, my partition size will be right here on disk 3. See this right here? This is my recovery partition. It was 500 megabytes. 500 megabytes. So I took an additional 500 megabytes from my operating system drive, which is this one right here. This is my operating system drive. And what I did is I took and I right clicked and I went to extend, the partition recovery. I just extended it. So I extended it. I'm not going to do it, but you can add on an additional 500 megabytes that way. Make sure this is the minimal size. This is the maximum size. Make sure you point that down. If you're going to do this, make sure you do it very minimally. Like that right there, just be enough to where, you need to do your operating system. That's extending the free space from the C drive to, because it says it right there, right here. I got an arrow. See, this is where it'll take from your original hard drive, for your operating system, and it will add onto your recovery drive. So it'll take your recovery drive from 500 megabytes to, let's say, 1.2 gigabytes. And you'll have plenty of space after that. And then you'll hit OK. I'm going to hit cancel. You'll hit OK and then come down here Come down here and you'll hit apply. Oh, I got a little arrow now. Yeah. So, okay. On the mini tool, for some reason, this thing went from big to small, and you guys can't see it, but right down where, your recovery drive is, hopefully you guys can see that little cursor. Well, look, we'll try to fix this. Come on. I don't know what's going on, why that does that. Let's see. Mouse cursor. There. Now it's a little bit bigger for you all, so we'll X out of that. Okay. Now it's a little bit bigger so you can see it. I know it's white, and we'll fix that. Okay. So now the whole idea is you want to take your GPT recovery partition, you want to make it bigger by extending from your original drive, your C drive, and taking some of that hard drive space and add it to your recovery partition. Once you get done and you come down to the bottom here where it says apply, okay, we'll make it easier. Where it says apply right here, then after that, you'll have to restart your computer and then check back in and make sure your recovery partition is over 1 gigabyte. And after that, it is over 1 gigabyte, and then you can take, yes, I want to quit that. Then you can take and go and, click on, let's say, your settings, and then you can go into your Windows update. And then right here, you'll check for updates. If it's still there, then you'll try to reapply it. You'll try to reapply it, and if it goes in with no problem, then restart your system again, and then you should be fine. But you have to remember catch 22. And we're going to bring up my disk management. If your recovery drive isn't up above 1 gigabyte, you're not going to be able to, and I'm going to say this, you're not going to be able to put that KB5034441 in, because that's going to be like an Achilles heel to you. For some reason, I guess the recovery partition filled up and they can't put no more in there, and it caused that error. So by extending it 500 megs, it's no big sweat. It doesn't take but 500 megs off of your drive and puts it into the recovery. That's no big sweat. I mean, if you think about it and you go to your properties and you look at it, I'm only using 159 gigabytes. And I got 770 gigabytes on my operating system drive. So I'm not worried about space as far as using 500 megs to go over there to the recovery partition. So this is the third way of doing it. If you want, you can go through the Partition Magic mini tool and get it for free. I showed you all. You can go back, look it through, and just type in Partition Magic mini tool, download, and get the free version. and then go over there and reset your recovery partition, and you'll be done. Do remember, messing with your operating system is one thing. That is one thing. But just extending one of your drives, like, one of your partition drives that's on the same partition is okay. But if you're still unsure, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't want to mess with it, I suggest you don't. If you want to leave it there, that's fine. You can also go, like I told you, to Major Geeks, download WU Hide and Show and Hide. WU Show and Hide. And you can go from there. And you can go and hide. You click on the hide button and hide, check on that update, and then apply it. And then it'll hide it until Windows comes up with the solution. That's your first solution. If you don't want to deal with anything, when it comes to that, you want Windows to fix it, but you don't want it to interfere with your updates, then go and hide that one. Remember, years ago, Windows, let me take you guys out of this. Let me get you out of this here. And let me bring you back to the main screen. Okay, remember, years ago, Windows 95 and 98, they used to have a button to hide your updates. If you didn't want to install the updates, you check them and you can hide them. This is the same thing. This is exactly the same thing. But this is just implemented through a different program now because Windows decided they wanted to take that off. They didn't want that to where, you can hide your updates, or if you didn't want to install them, they didn't want to make it your discretion anymore. They wanted to make it mandatory that you had to update it. So, but you can hide your update if you don't want to update. But that one is a critical update. So if you don't want to wait for Windows and you want to try it yourself, all you're doing is extending your recovery drive 500 megabytes. That's all you're doing. I spent a couple days doing this myself until I come up with the solution. And that's what I come up there with. That solution was the simple fact of that. Okay, so I had to close some and get that that pointer that was, I had like maybe a 1-inch pointer on my screen too. I had to fix that. But coming down to it, and this is my analysis of it all, you can fix that update, yes. Okay. That's not going to be hard to fix that update. But what's going to make it hard to fix that update would be that if you don't know how to go about it, then, you're stuck into that bind. The real problem is that Windows operating system doesn't have that kind of fix automatically for you. Not do it automatically for you, but have the kind of tools that you need to fix something like that. They don't have that kind of tools already loaded into your system for you to combat something like this. Or they have a quick fix to where they had a program that would automatically fix it for you, resize it and everything else. That would have been the smart thing to do. Windows would have put that program in to where if you had to fix your recovery or you had to fix your hard drive or something that would fix your drive from the critical failure of not being able to install the updates. Now, your troubleshooting I'll tell you what, I tried the troubleshooting and tried to fix the Windows updates through the troubleshooter. Did not work. I mean, it's a waste of program to have it in your system if it's not going to fix anything. It couldn't fix anything on my network. It couldn't fix. That troubleshooter doesn't fix crap. Okay. The only thing that I found that does work is if you're putting an older program in that requires a different operating system, like if it requires Windows 7, that you can take and, fix it, fix the program to where it'll run off of Windows 10 or 11 or however you want to do it. But as far as the troubleshooter ain't worth crap. Microsoft, hear me very carefully. I went through a lot of this operating system on Windows 10, and I'll tell you what, it is good, but there's a couple things in there that needs to be improved on. That's definitely for sure. And that's definitely for sure that everybody's going to have this same problem I'm having and trying to do this Windows update, and they can't get it done because you're just picking around with it and don't want to tell everybody, hey, well, if you go and download this program instead of us having the program for you, well, Microsoft, if you had the program, that would be a freeware program that it didn't cost anybody anything, and you had instructions how to resize your recovery partition without having to go through the command.com, which that's about as old and stupid as it can be, especially being on newer operating systems like this. You use command.com when it was like Windows 7 and PowerShell. That's back in the Stone Age, don't you think? But to be honest with you, it is what it is. The tools are there. That's if you want to go old school. But in the new school where people don't have that, technological kind of thing, you need to really think about that. You got millions of people out there sitting there thinking to themselves, oh my God, what do I do? It's there, but I can't get my updates. And as well as I do, if you have an update error in your Windows update, that your updates won't come through. Some of your critical updates. So, come on, man. Really? I just want you all to really think about that really quick. I'm going to spend a couple more minutes before I conclude this. This is my last of my thoughts. But you can fix this. This is an easy fix. If you don't want Windows to fix it for you, you can fix it yourself. Now, with hearing them doing this BitLocker discrepancy on the home version, which the home version doesn't have BitLocker, you know this and I know this. And I know you probably heard this from quite a few people. With the home version, they don't give you that access to BitLocker, but on the Pro version, you do, or the Enterprise version, you do. So these are a lot of people that are kind of pissed off about this because you put out an update that you didn't have a fix for. And you said you're going to put a fix out there, but the only thing you fixed is you put an instruction fix of how to fix it, but nothing about fixing it. Now, maybe in a couple days, couple months or whatever, you'll tell everybody, well, we got a fix for it. But in the meantime, everybody's pissing around like, how am I going to get my updates? How am I going to get my antivirus updates and this and that? And do remember, Windows 10 is not expired until 2025? Or something like that? 2026, 2025, somewhere in there. But just to let you know, there is a fix. You can go an external fix, which would be like going to Partition Magic and getting the mini tool, get it for free. You just need a mini partition tool to repartition and extend your recovery drive. You don't have to mess around with any codes or anything else. You just need a partition tool to extend your recovery drive. That's the end of it. So there's the fix. If you didn't know, you could try it, but I'm not, and I'm going to say this, I'm not responsible for anything. You fix this, you take your own risk. All I can do is give you the tool to tell you how to fix it. You fix it up on your own. I fixed mine, so I'm just giving you how I fixed mine was by extending, the recovery drive. And that's basically what they said is you need an extension to the recovery drive. So that's the answer. So you get a partition tool that you can extend your recovery drive. Then you don't have to do anything else. You just shut down and restart your system after you extend your recovery drive. That's it. And then you go back and check through. And if the tool, the update still doesn't go through, try hitting it once or twice. And if it still doesn't go through, then shut down and restart your system again. And then go back into the Windows updates and try it again. It will go through. So be patient. I know I had to go through it once or twice, shut down and restarts. That's just so that way the system refreshes and resets itself. But if I can do it, I know you can do it as well. So if you made it to the end of the video, I hope it was informational for y'all. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do. Help support the channel. But until the next time, in the next video, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We'll see you on the next one.